Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Before starting the video, please subscribe and keep watching for more details videos. Iga Swiatek's Compatriot issues bold message to TV haters over worst season claims. 9 days ago, Iga Swiatek displayed unmatched dominance to become the first Polish player ever to win a Wimbledon singles title. But her path to glory wasn't without its hurdles. Before this, her last title came at the 2024 French Open. A combination of poor form and a 1-month doping suspension had placed her under an intense spotlight, and not for the right reasons. Reflecting on that difficult time, Swiatek admitted it was like 3 weeks crying daily, with her career hanging in the balance. Addressing her journey, Swiatek also opened up about the growing scrutiny over her on-court demeanor. "I clearly see how much people love judging, creating theories, and imposing opinions on others. When I'm highly focused and don't show many emotions on court, I'm called a robot, my attitude labeled as inhuman. Now that I'm more expressive, showing feelings or struggling internally, I'm suddenly labeled immature or hysterical." According to Dominik Senkowski of Sport.pl, the Polish media have been particularly harsh during this phase of her career, with her losses being treated almost as a national tragedy. Much of this criticism was visible ahead of Wimbledon, but her emphatic 6-0 win over America's Amanda Anisimova silenced many of those doubters. Recently, Polish compatriot Jan Zielinski came to her defense in an interview with Sport.pl, saying, "So now she's definitely taken a big step in the right direction. Hats off to her. Iga has proven to all her online and TV haters that she's still the best tennis player in the world, that she's a force to be reckoned with. Just because she reached the semifinals of the Australian Open and then Roland Garros doesn't mean it's a bad season, and people were calling it Iga's worst season in many years." Swiatek currently holds a 42-11 win-loss record this season. Speaking about the relentless criticism, Swiatek's PR manager, Daria Solgostowska, emphasized that their top priority is safety. Her team actively monitors the internet to identify abusive content. While constructive criticism is acceptable, she noted, threats, hate speech, or interference with training are unacceptable. Volleyball star Joanna Wulasz also weighed in, stating that anyone criticizing Swiatek should try renting a court, gripping a racket, and playing themselves, then reconsider. Zielinski added that there's much to learn from how Swiatek handles herself on and off the court. Day 11, the Championships, Wimbledon 2025 London, England, July 10th. Iga Swiatek of Poland celebrates after winning match point against Belinda Bencic of Switzerland during the ladies' singles semifinal match on Day 11 of the Championships Wimbledon 2025 at All England Lawn Tennis and Croquet Club on July 10th, 2025 in London, England. Photo by Vision House via London All England Lawn Tennis and Croc England United Kingdom copyright. Vision House 776305101. Even tennis legend Andy Roddick couldn't ignore the media noise. In defense of Swiatek, he bluntly said, "I'm sorry, if you are a sports journalist in Poland and you are crushing Iga on a week-to-week basis, you are AF. G moron." Iga Swiatek hits back at her critics after her Wimbledon triumph. Before Wimbledon began, most expected Swiatek to bounce back during the clay swing, but after failing to defend her French Open crown, she instead stunned the tennis world by finding success on her least favorite surface. She made the final at the Bad Homburg Open and then lifted the trophy at the All England Club. Following her Wimbledon triumph, she directly addressed the critics. "For sure, the past months, how the media sometimes described me. I gotta say, unfortunately, Polish media, how they treated me and my team. It wasn't really pleasant. I hope they will just leave me alone and let me do my job." She acknowledged that expectations have risen with her success, but she's now focused more on her own process, her own life, and her own career. What she values most now is the freedom to do things on her own terms. As for what comes next, can Swiatek reclaim the world #1 spot from Aryna Sabalenka by the end of the year? Serena Williams' former coach, Rick Matchy, seems optimistic. He recently shared a tweet expressing confidence that Iga could retake the crown before the season wraps up. What do you think? Is another Swiatek reign on the horizon? Let us know in the comments below. Iga Swiatek's compatriot issues bold message to TV haters over worst season claims. In a world that thrives on instant judgment and viral reactions, where opinions are shaped in 280 characters and narratives twisted by flashy headlines, Iga Swiatek, the stoic Polish tennis queen, has become a paradox. She's quiet yet dominant, humble yet unshakably resilient. But even champions aren't immune to criticism, especially when every match is televised, every move dissected, and every imperfect performance amplified into a crisis. And recently, amid the whirlwind of hot takes, hashtags, and heated TV panels, a voice rose not from the sports media, not from a coach or analyst, but from someone who knows Iga beyond the headlines, her compatriot, longtime friend, and fellow Polish tennis star, Magda Linette. In a fiery and impassioned message shared across social media and picked up by news outlets worldwide, Linette struck back at critics who claimed Swiatek was enduring her worst season. The message, short but thunderous, read, "If this is her worst season, then what does that say about everyone else? TV experts love drama. Iga plays tennis. Simple. Hashtag respect the work, hashtag Polish pride. A season of struggle. Only on TV." At the heart of the backlash was a curious narrative that Iga Swiatek, the reigning queen of clay, was somehow slipping. She hadn't won every tournament. She'd lost a few tight matches. She'd only won 3 titles so far this year by July, 1 Masters 1000 and 2 WTA 500s. For most players, this would be a dream run. For Swiatek, apparently, it was grounds for concern. TV pundits, some known for their theatrical monologues, had begun whispering about a decline. One British commentator went as far as calling it her first real adversity. Another opined that the Swiatek era is fading. Fans on social media, always quick to hop aboard trending sentiments, began speculating whether Coco Gauff or Aryna Sabalenka had permanently cracked her code. But behind the scenes, the reality was far from dramatic. Swiatek, still ranked number 1 or number 2 throughout the season, remained a model of consistency. She reached the semifinals or better in nearly every tournament she entered, had one of the highest win percentages on tour, and was improving her grass game, long seen as her Achilles heel. Yet, none of that seemed to silence the growing echo of criticism. The power of Magda's message. Linette's message came at a time when Iga herself had chosen silence over spectacle. True to her nature, Swiatek never lashed out at her critics. She didn't tweet long threads or clap back in interviews. Instead, she kept practicing, playing, and focusing. But that doesn't mean she didn't feel the pressure. In stepping up, Linette did more than defend a friend. She issued a challenge to an industry hooked on controversy. Why must a woman be dominant forever to be respected? Why must we break her down when she isn't perfect? Iga is 24. She's been in the top 3 for nearly 3 years. What more does she need to prove? Her words resonated, particularly in Poland, where Swiatek is more than just an athlete. She's a symbol of discipline, of integrity, of modern Polish identity. And seeing her dragged through talk show speculation angered fans and fellow players alike. Former Polish Davis Cup captain Mariusz Furstenberg added his voice. They forget she's human. They forget how much pressure she carries, not just as a tennis player, but as a national icon. Media, myth-making, and the double standard. There's something deeply revealing in the way narratives are constructed around women in sports. Male players can go months without titles and still be spoken of with reverence, working through a phase, battling fatigue, saving energy for slams. But when a top female player like Swiatek doesn't dominate every tournament, she's deemed vulnerable, declining, even broken. Linette pointed this out with piercing clarity in a follow-up interview. We create myths that women must be flawless to be great, but greatness is built in grind, not just in glitter. Iga never lost herself. Others just forgot who she really is. She wasn't wrong. Swiatek still led the tour in return points won. She still had one of the best ratios of winners to unforced errors. She was still the toughest draw in any tournament. And yet, because she'd lost a third-set tiebreak in Rome or didn't make the Wimbledon final, her season was under a microscope. IGA's quiet response. The most Swiatek did was drop a subtle post on Instagram after Linette's message went viral. It showed her in practice, sweat pouring, racket grip tight, mid-backhand swing. The caption, "No drama. Just tennis. Tennis woman in lotus position." In that 7-word response, Swiatek said everything and nothing at once. A nod to the chaos, a dismissal of it, and above all, a reminder of what she came to do. Fans rally, critics backpedal. The effect of Linette's bold words was immediate. Polish fans flooded Twitter with messages of support for Swiatek. Hashtags like #IGAStrong, #NoDramaJustTennis, and #RespectTheQueen trended in Eastern Europe. Even some pundits walked back their harsher statements. Renowned tennis writer Christopher Clary tweeted, "We often mislabel dominance as decline when we get used to greatness. IGA's not falling, she's evolving." Even Billie Jean King joined the chorus, retweeting Linette's message with a note. Powerful words. Women don't owe us perfection. They owe themselves authenticity. Keep going, at IGA_Swiatek. A rallying cry for more than just tennis. What began as a defense of IGA Swiatek became something bigger. A rallying cry against the way the media sometimes consumes and distorts women's accomplishments. It exposed a double standard and challenged the very definition of success. Because if IGA Swiatek's current season, filled with deep tournament runs, jaw-dropping stats, and continued evolution, can be labeled her worst, then what message are we sending to young athletes? That anything short of perfection is failure? Linette's bold stance said no. Enough. Her words rekindled an old truth, that being the best is not about always winning. It's about showing up, grinding, adjusting, continuing, especially when the world starts doubting you. What comes next? If history is any guide, Swiatek will let her racket do the talking. As the hard-court swing looms and the U.S. Open approaches, she's been quietly sharpening her serve, expanding her net game, and embracing more aggression. And perhaps, just perhaps, all this worst season talk will become the fire that fuels her next chapter. Linette summed it up best. Watch her now. Not just because she's IGA Swiatek, but because she's showing the world what it means to grow under pressure, not collapse beneath it. And as the world watches, maybe it will remember, champions aren't made by never falling. They're made by how many times they rise. Epilogue. No apologies for greatness. As the TV lights fade, the matches come and go, and the talking heads move to their next topic, IGA Swiatek will still be there, still swinging, still running down every ball, still building something far greater than a perfect season. A legacy. And this time, she knows her compatriots, and millions more, stand right beside her. No drama, just tennis, and a greatness that needs no defense.